It's Fully Threaded Radio, episode 215.
All right, so imagine my surprise. I'm over here at North Coast, and who do I run into?
Morgan Wilson.
What are you doing here?
Well, I just started a new role with Star Stainless.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
How are you going to roll your two roles together here?
Well, I'm excited to kind of utilize the strong network that I've built over the last 8 or 9 years at at IFE, and then also fall back on my experience with Exact Industries, a distributor that I worked for prior to that, and got to knock a little rust off my CFS, but I'm excited.
Wonderful. And everything, you can stay where you are in California and you can still fish. I know that's important to Eric, that you're still fishing and surfing.
Yeah, I hope so. I don't know how much free time I'll have, but we'll definitely try and get on the water when we can. And yeah, so I'll stay in Southern California and be traveling around a little bit. But yeah.
Well, it's great to see you.
Likewise.
Yeah. It's time for Fully Threaded Radio.
It is Fully Threaded Radio, voice of the FCH sourcing network. You buy, sell, manufacture, import, try to import threaded fasteners. This is the podcast for you. You know the spiel by now. Come on. Hey, everybody. Eric Dudas with you, coming to you this time from semi-rural Northeast Ohio. And I'm actually at the Shagbark location, so we may be prone to various bird interruptions on today's episode. On Brian's side, Harpo the parrot. Over here we got Blackjack the rooster, who's a little rambunctious this morning. Brian, you are the well-known coat slinger and fashion maven of the fastener industry. How are you today?
Good. I'm not the fashion maven. That's GQ. Sorry.
Well, you have your chance next week in Nashville to shine. Brian Musker, that is.
Yeah.
Good to hear your voice.
Yeah, I know. Likewise.
All right, so you're getting all rigged up for Nashville. I am too. We're going to drop this. This will be the shortest, I think, fully threaded episode on record, and we're going to get it out there. Just because I have these odds and ends to clean up before we go, Lynn was able to grab a few little interviews from the social. You guys came out to Cleveland a week or so back, and I have a few of those. So let's get those off the plate so we can clear the decks for Nashville stuff.
Right. Yeah, we went to the social. It was a great social, as always. And there wasn't really much in the way of negative vibes, I have to say. People were sort of, the wait-and-see stuff has gone away. I don't know. I couldn't quite tell, but it was a lot of people. We had a lot of fun talking to them.
Well, that's what it's all about. And we'll have more of the same next week, I'm sure. That'll be our feature, as we're going to call it. It's just a couple of slices. We opened up, of course, with the voice of Morgan Wilson. He flew out from the West Coast. He was hobnobbing with the threaderati of the Midwest at the NCFA Distributor Social. And on today's episode, we'll also have a Fastener Training Minute with Carmen Vertullo. This time, he'll be talking about galvanizing high-strength structural bolts, and all you CFSs out there are thinking, hey, that's not permitted, but as Carmen will explain, that is changing.
Oh, okay. I'll be keen to listen to that myself.
Yes. You'll be able to get more detail on this, as all of Carmen's training minutes and his various musings. We don't say this often enough, but he does do a column in Fastener Technology International magazine, so yet another reason to grab FTI. Well, the other FTI, the Fastener Training Institute, of course, they're very involved with what Carmen does. You'll hear Joe Morris on his training minute today also. And they're bringing back individual CFS classes, Bryce, so you don't have to sit for the whole week anymore. You can take individual days scattered out and then mash them all together and get your certification, which is really cool. They used to offer that. It's back.
Okay. Well, it'll suit a lot of people because they can't really take a whole week off.
Exactly. So for everybody thinking about getting that CFS certification, there you have it. Also, Bri, right before we get too much into this brief episode, we should clear up the cover art question.
I think you should, actually.
We were just about ready to turn on the mics, and all of a sudden I realized we had a little bit of a mystery. So last week was the Midwest Fastener Association Still Screwed Up Open, which is their spring spectacular golf event. And even though they were freezing their asses off, Bri, I guess they had over 70 golfers this year, so it was a success.
Really? Okay, it's a pretty good turnout.
I know you stayed comfortably warm there at the data center.
I was very warm sitting inside watching the shitty weather outside.
But I got the rundown from Bob GQ Bear, and if you've seen the thumbnail for today's episode, it's Bill Johansson with Big Bolt, and he's holding the coveted FTR award, that being a 30-pack of Warm Bush Light. I don't know how warm it would have been, Bri, because it was so cold out, but anyway, that award is associated with kind of stinking up the greens in some way, or coming in last, or having a really noteworthy mulligan, that sort of thing. But this time, as it turns out, Bill was on the winning team.
Okay, well, that's sort of a relief for him, actually.
Right. We don't want him to be stigmatized here, you know.
Right.
So
yeah.
we're clearing it up here. But Big Bolt, in fact, did take the FTR award this year. And I talked to Tom Borer of Cambridge on this to make sure that it was true, because Tom and Vic from Cambridge headed up this year's pack out there at the MWFA event. Surprisingly, according to Tom, they weren't expecting it, but they led the field along with Bill Johansson from Big Bolt and Rick Terry, who many of you know is an independent rep, and they were number one. Anyway, everyone else on Big Bolt was on a separate team from Bill, you know, and he just accepted the award. So that's how he got on the cover.
He won't be doing that again.
Well, you got to be careful when you pick up that 30-pack, folks.
Right, yeah.
Anyway, congratulations to everybody for all of your various achievements. Hope the beer was warm. Also, while I was talking to GQ, Bri, he mentioned to me that this year's Tough Mudder team is building out quite nicely. We've lost a few folks, but we've picked up quite a few as well. So that's all cool and everything's building. But what he wanted me to point out is when we've been promoting this, of course, we've been steering everybody to the toughmudder.com website to get a picture of what the event looks like and all that. But he wanted us to clearly state that if you're interested in jumping in on the team, get with Bob GQ Bear with Abbott Interfast or Bobby Wagner with Beacon Fasteners, GH3 over there at Brighton. He'll be able to help you out as well. 3 of the big shots on this team, and they're sort of doing the coordination. So if you want to get in on this year's Tough Mudder race, we'd love to have you. Our team is the Tough Nutters. The event's in August, connected with MWFA Fastener Week. This year, it's August 28th in Rockford, kicking off the whole week.
Right, yeah.
You'll be there, right, Bri?
Oh, yeah, of course. Absolutely. Lynn. Haven't worked out what capacity, running around with cameras or whatever. We'll see.
You going to get new shoes for this?
No. If you're trying to find some old shoes, they usually get sort of shitty.
Yes, they do. Well, as I said, we're just putting a brief episode together, and we'll take a break in a minute. Then when we come back, we'll play a couple more of those short interview segments that Lynn grabbed at the Distributor Social. And if you stay through that, Brian and I will wind up and we'll give you some tips about how not to suck if Lynn comes up and tries to interview you at Fastener Fair in Nashville.
Right. Or not to run screaming away.
Yeah. Well, typically people will freeze up, but there's so much opportunity. I guess the point is here, she's putting the mic in front of your face. A lot of people listen to the podcast. Not everybody, but a lot of people do. It's your chance to communicate your message to the industry. That may be promoting your company. That might make people back at the home office feel it was worthwhile sending you all to Nashville, huh? Hint. Could be your take, your suggestion on what we should be doing on the podcast. Or you might just want to express some reaction to something that's going on, either on the podcast or elsewhere out there in the fastener world. So don't be shy. And if you see Lynn walking around, tap her on the shoulder. She's looking for interviews. So we'll talk about that a little bit more. I guess I pretty much just said it right there, Brian, but
sort of.
we're scratching for material here.
Right, because we're really focused on getting to Nashville.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've had to jam all the stuff in the crate.
Without forgetting something.
Don't worry, Bri. You have this paranoia about not having enough extension cords all the time, but we always make it somehow.
Yeah, okay.
And in the interest of getting more content out there before we leave the office, yesterday we published an interview with Sam Aldinger, who really said a lot of important things about what's happening, especially with technology and its impacts on the fastener industry these days. I put it in the category of must-listen, fully threaded episodes. So if you're catching us today and you haven't heard the episode with Sam Aldinger that we just published, make sure you go back, listen to it. I'd actually share it with everybody in your office who would benefit from it as well. I mean, some very, very key messages on that one.
Yeah, Sam's views on the importance of maximizing all your use of data and trying to use AI in the process or to help you do that is really sort of, I guess, his little thing, okay? Not little thing, it's actually a big thing. And he's focused on that.
On top of that, it's just a plain entertaining conversation. Some of you know that Sam and his family recently jumped into the homesteading lifestyle after working for many years at Fastenal, and he gives us a little more insight into that as well. So it's a great conversation. We called it Fastening to Farming with Sam Aldinger.
Much more than just remotely connected to fastening.
Predominantly, one might say. And our partners are as well. Fully Threaded Radio is made possible by our partners, the title sponsors of Fully Threaded, Star Stainless, right off the shelf, it's Star, Goebel Fasteners, quality the first time, Go Goebel, and Brighton Best International. Tested, tried, true, Brighton Best. Fully Threaded is also sponsored by Buckeye Fasteners, BTM Manufacturing, Eurolink Fastener Supply Service, Fastener Technology International, InSequel Software, J-Land Franco, MW Components, Solution Industries, Volt Industrial Plastics, and Worth Industry USA. You can catch Brian or myself out there on LinkedIn or send us an email. The address, ftr@fullythreaded.com. Thanks, everybody, for checking out the podcast. We appreciate you. If you are in Nashville, we'll be in booth 338. Look us up.
Stop by, please. We look forward to talking to all our friends and FCH members and anyone who's not a member.
Who should be.
Yeah, it should be. Yeah, right.
We'll be right back. It's Fully Threaded.
Online Fastener Talk Radio. Hey, at least it kills time on long road trips. Fully Threaded Radio.
Goebel Fasteners is ISO 9001-2015 certified. All products are subject to quality assurance tests. The process is tracked from start to finish and then archived for future reference after production. All test reports are extensively detailed and available to all customers free of charge. Goebel Fasteners, the leading rivet source.
Brighton Best International is celebrating 100 years of excellence. From our humble beginnings, we've grown into a trusted name, providing distributors with tested, tried, and true products. To our incredible employees, past and present, thank you. Your hard work, dedication, and passion are the heart and soul of Brighton Best. Together, we have achieved so much, standing on the shoulders of giants in our industry. To our loyal customers and partners, your trust and support have been instrumental in our journey. We look forward to serving you with the same excellence and integrity for the next 100 years. With appreciation, excitement, and optimism, we say, let's keep making history together. We thank you from Brighton Best International.
Hello, everyone. This is Carmen Vertullo with the Fastener Training Minute, coming to you from the Fastener Training Institute in Carver Labs in beautiful El Cajon, California. Well, today's topic is by no means a new one. We've talked about this before, and the topic has to do with structural bolts and specifically hot dip galvanizing of structural bolts, and very specifically hot dip galvanizing of high strength 150 KSI grade A490 structural bolts, which currently by the F3125 standard is not permitted. However, change is in the works. So when we come back, we'll talk about hot dip galvanizing and coatings in general of F3125 structural bolting.
Thanks, Carmen. This is Joe Morris with the Fastener Training Institute. Well, we're headed into summer. The kids are out of school. It's a great time to grab them and head to sunny San Diego because the Fastener Training Institute, with our expert instructor, Carmen Vertullo, are presenting 3 days of phenomenal fastener training in beautiful San Diego, California. You might be familiar with our Certified Fastener Specialist training program and presume that in order to achieve this astute credential, you need to commit to a full week away from work. This is not the case. FTI is proud to bring back our single-day CFS classes that are perfect for those who need a bit more flexibility. The series starts with CFS 1, that's Fastener Specifications and Terminology. We first presented this in early May, but we're offering it again on July 14th at Carver Labs in San Diego. This class focuses on fastener standards, fastener technical resources, and fastener terminology. Then, for the second CFS class, that will be on Tuesday, July 15th, and we'll present Understanding the Bolted Joint, also at Carver Labs. This class focuses on fastener applications of all kinds with an emphasis on fastener selection and installation strategies. This is a hands-on tools and bolts class. It is technical, but it's appropriate for all levels of experience, and it's well suited for everyone who actually specifies, uses, or installs fasteners. Then on Wednesday, we're going to be presenting, again with Carmen Vertullo, Infrastructure Fastening. That's July 16th. This training program is about all things structural. It focuses on structural, infrastructural bolting of all kinds. That is hard to say. For more detailed description about all of our classes, please visit our website at fastenertraining.org. I'm looking forward to seeing you this summer. Now it's back to Carmen.
Solution Man, Ken.
Solution Man, you're my fastener hero.
Just doing my job, ma'am.
SOLUTION, SOLUTION. Solution Industry. We are Solution.
Well, hello, everyone. This is Carmen Vertullo back at you with the Fastener Training Minute today, talking about coatings for structural bolts, specifically hot-dip galvanized coatings. Now, if you look at F3125, it is very clear in an appendix, or an annex, I should say, which coatings are allowed on which types of fasteners. And it turns out that the most common coating that we see on structural bolts is hot dip galvanizing. However, it is restricted to grade A325 heavy hex structural bolt assemblies. There are no coatings allowed on any tension control bolts at this point. However, they can occasionally be coated with agreement. Sometimes we will see, for example, mechanical zinc on TC bolts. And the reason for that is TC bolts are very finicky regarding their K factor or their lubrication. And any kind of coating that we put on them would have to be controlled in such a factor as to make that TC bolt assembly work. The table that is defining what we're allowed to do in an annex called A1, permitted coatings of F3125, is called table A1.1, permitted coatings. And it's very clear. It starts off telling us that of the two grades, 120 KSI, which is the ASTM A325, and the 144 KSI, which is a new grade, by the way, if you haven't been paying attention to structural bolting lately. It's new. It's better than, stronger, I should say, than A325. Not quite as strong as the A490 at 150 KSI, but it's up there, and it solves a lot of problems. These bolts are permitted to have hot dip galvanized coatings according to F2329. They're also permitted to have mechanical zinc coatings according to ASTM B695. And they're also permitted to have various types of zinc flake coatings, which are described in ASTM F3393. If we move over to the next column, we talk about the 150 KSI or A490 assemblies, and the only qualified coating for that bolt is the F3393 zinc flake type coatings, and there are several of them to pick from in that standard. So what's the issue? Well, for many years, we've been arguing that we would like to be able to put hot dip galvanizing on our 150 KSI A490 assemblies. And we've had vociferous arguments against and for it. It's been quite contentious on several standards committees. That would be the BO8 Coatings Committee. It would be in the F16 Fastener Standards Committee, and also in the RCSC Research Council on Structural Connections Committees. And we're about to come up against a final answer to that pretty soon here. As a matter of fact, we will be meeting in June, possibly as this Fastener Training Minute is being published, to discuss this. The arguments against coatings on the A490 bolts are that we have to over-tap the nut. Now we're expecting to get great performance out of that nut, much more so than we would need on the grade A325 and somewhat more than we would need on the grade 144. So we're trying to decide, is this an issue or not? We know that they hot dip galvanize the strength fastener in Europe all the time. However, they have a different approach to it. Their approach is they undersize the threads on the bolt, and then they use, when the hot dip galvanized coating goes on, now it's a standard thread, and so they don't have to over-tap the nut. If we over-tap the nut by too much or the coating is too thin, we may not have enough thread engagement, and we could risk an issue with thread stripping. Also, there is always the fear of hydrogen embrittlement. Now, A490 structural bolts at 150 KSI are not in the range at maximum strength and hardness where hydrogen embrittlement becomes an issue. However, it could be if we misprocess the bolts, and there have been cases in the past. So those are the fears. Now, here's the resolution that we're seeking, and hopefully enough parties will agree to it, because we actually could benefit from being able to hot dip galvanize our 150 KSI structural bolting. The proposal is that we will allow it, but only with the permission or under the supervision of the manufacturer of the bolts. In other words, an end user or a distributor would not be able to just buy these bolts and hot dip galvanize them and match them with a nut and a washer and make the assembly. That would be only done with the permission or under the auspices of the manufacturer, which I think is a fairly decent solution. So we'll see where that goes. Having said all of that, chances are it may not matter very much, because for most cases where we need 150 KSI hot dip galvanized bolt, probably the 144 KSI assembly will work fine. So that's the thinking. It's quite possible going into the future that we may not have 150 KSI bolts as the standard. The 144 KSI bolt will become the standard, and it could conceivably even replace the A325 120 KSI bolt. And all of a sudden, we went from this very complex standard with 3 different bolts in 3 different styles, and there's another standard that has the torque and angle. Don't worry, that's a topic for another Fastener Training Minute. We could go from a very complex structural bolt situation to a much simpler one where we only have one grade, that's 144 KSI, and we can put whatever coating we want on it. Well, that is where we're living right now in the world of dealing with hot dip galvanizing of structural bolting. We'll be discussing this at a couple of upcoming conferences, and I will give you an update when we have it. Pay attention to the Fastener Standards update in the NFDA newsletter and also in the Fastener Technology International magazine, where we will be reporting on this as developments occur. Well, this has been Carmen Vertullo with the Fastener Training Minute. Thanks for listening.
With Star Stainless, our personalized service and nationwide network of distribution centers allows you to order rivets, hose clamps, and fasteners from one source. Star continues to be your one-stop shop to consolidate vendors, reduce transactions, and save on shipping costs. Choose Star Stainless for a comprehensive inventory that meets all your hardware needs. Star Stainless Screw Company is a division of Linfast Solutions Group.
This is George Hunt III from Brighton Best International, and you're listening to Fully Threaded Radio.
All right, I'm still over here at North Coast, and now I'm with
Justine Urban, Hodel NACO. I'm in the manager of the sourcing department.
I noticed Kevin, your boss, said, oh, yeah, she can handle it.
He has been my boss for 10 years. I've been with the company, and it's a great company to work for.
So tell me, how's the event so far?
It's been really great. I've talked to a lot of vendors and had a lot of great conversations.
Good. So what's happening over at Hodel that you want to tell us about?
We've been very busy, busy with new business and busy with figuring out tariffs, which is everybody's favorite topic right now. But I think we've got everything pretty well aligned, and hoping that things stay upbeat for us.
So should I ask, how do you figure out tariffs?
Lots of math.
And that about says it all. Yeah. Okay. We have a newbie here for North Coast Fastener. This is
Tony Bowman from Michigan Bolt Manufacturing.
So what do you think so far?
Oh, it's a great event. A lot of people here. It's been really good to network, and definitely didn't know what I was getting into coming here since it was my first time, but I'm pleasantly surprised.
All right, tell me a little bit about Michigan Bolt.
Michigan Bolt, we are located out of Romeo, Michigan. We are a external threaded manufacturing supplier. We produce standard weld studs for the automotive industry. And then on top of that, hex flange bolts, cap screws, cap hex bolts, hinge pins, solid pins, and rivets. Pretty much anything that's a pin with an external thread or not, we can manufacture.
How long have you been in the industry?
I've been in the industry now for about 14 years, but I've been with Michigan Bolt in specific for 4.
So will we see you at more shows?
Absolutely.
Well, that's always good. Now, do you listen to Fully Threaded Radio?
Yes, I do.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. And you'll have to, Eric's not here, but Brian's here. I think you met Brian earlier. Yep. So you'll have to meet Eric at Fastener Fair.
Yes, I will, the Fastener Fair in Nashville. Mm-hmm. Yep, we'll see him down there.
Thank you. All right, I'm over here at the North Coast Social, and I'm here with the new president, who happens to be
Gary Graham.
And I knew you when, Gary. How about it?
Oh, you've known me for a while, since I was a young buck in the industry.
I know. How about it? And here you are, president. I'm so proud of you.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. Thanks for your support.
Yeah, good. All right. So tell me, how did this happen? When did it happen?
We had an election, and I guess years of service. Finally won over my peers, or they got tired of doing it. And they elected me, so this is my first term as the president, like you said. Finally a chance to give back and serve the organization that served me so well over these years.
And what direction are you taking the club?
Oh, well, now that you're giving me a platform to set my direction, if I had to say, it would be keeping the youth and the new members of the industry involved. It's the platform I came up on. If we've known me, I've been bumping my gums for a long time about keeping the new youth, the new generation, the young fastener professionals involved. And I would like to push that. We're having a lot of events here at the North Coast Fastener Association. We just had a go-kart racing in February with amazing turnout, really geared toward getting everyone from the office, maybe get your warehouse out there, some of your crew you want to keep involved, show them fun things that we do. You know, it's not just getting orders out at the end of the day. It's going on plant tours, learning the industry, amazing social events like this evening. We've got a ball game with the Cleveland Guardians this summer, and our golf tournament. You know, a lot of young golfers out there spend a beautiful day outside working for the company, and I would really like to get everyone involved. You know, there's so much knowledge and professionals in this industry, that just so much wealth of just the experience that we could share, and we can make a great next generation for the industry.
Boy, you should be president here, Gary.
Boy, yeah. I guess you just inherit the long-winded speeches when you're up here now. So.
All right. Sounds from the 2025 edition of the North Coast Fastener Association Distributor Social. Glad you were able to swing out for that along with Lynn this year, Bri.
I was, but I've made that most years, actually, recently. I mean, except when we're overseas once. But it's a great social, really is. I mean, and people who've never been to any of these joint things before, I always talk them into. I said, this is a one where you'll see that the industry can get along quite happily, even though many of the people in this room are really competing in one way against each other. But not necessarily exactly, but they're in the same area. And it's really great to see.
And as usual, it attracted several members of the upper echelon of the threaderati, sprinkled in amongst the plebeians. So it's good to see. And we'll see a lot of them again in Nashville coming up here. And well, it's a matter of hours. The countdown has begun. I'm sure Blanca is quite excited. You know how it feels before the big day when you have all these plans and everything coming together. So kind of exciting. And if you've been to a fastener event in the last several years and you have your eyes open, then you've seen the lovely and talented Lynn Dempsey walking the aisles, looking for interviews for this very podcast, inviting anyone and everyone to share their voice with the industry. And we'll close out this episode, this brief episode of Fully Threaded Radio, Bri, with a few encouraging words for our would-be participants who sometimes, as you said, seem to go running in horror. Not all of them. I mean, we have some great regulars over the years, as it turns out, but there's a lot of room out there. So what words of advice would you give for folks who are kind of hesitant to jump in on this opportunity, Bri?
Well, it's a chance to, I guess, give a summary of what your company really does. Normally, Lynn will be asking for your comments relating to the industry, the state of it as you see it, and you should give that too, because, the way that someone who sells pins would be different to the way, or a supplier of, say, bolts, especially at the moment. So that everyone has a different view of what state the industry is in altogether. It makes the general state of the industry. So it is important for all of us, and you can make it important for you. You're representing your company.
Okay, I get your drift on all that. I'm going to say it's an opportunity to perhaps poke fun at one of your industry friends or make note of an interesting anecdote that might have occurred. Oh, maybe you rolled a golf cart down the berm well, we won't go into that event, but
I guess not.
Different fastener lore that can now be told. It's your chance. I'll tell you, we'll make it a little juicier for you. There's a new edition, Fully Threaded Radio coffee mug, very attractive addition to your collection of fastener accoutrements. Anyone who does an interview with Lynn this year, you're going to go home with one of those. We'll have a small quantity of them available at the FCH Sourcing Network booth this year. Again, that's in 338. That's our main gig, by the way. FCH Sourcing Network. Sometimes we forget to mention that, Bri. It was pointed out to me several times recently. There's our plug for this episode. Get out to fastenersclearinghouse.com. Anyway, we'll be there in Nashville. So will you. Talk to Lynn. Get on the next episode. And that'll be the next time some of you hear from us. We'll do our usual roll-up of this year's Fastener Fair. We look forward to seeing a lot of you there, but if we don't, we'll talk to you then.
But make an effort to come by, stop by and say hi.
Good advice, Bri.
Yeah, I know.
I think we managed to do the shortest one on record yet.
Okay.
Thanks so much for listening, folks. And we'll get out of here before either Harpo or Blackjack wake up. They were mercifully quiet on this recording session, Bri, so we'll get out of here. I'll say, for Brian Musker, this is Eric Dudas. Get out there, sell some screws, talk to Lynn if you see her coming, okay? And we'll talk to you soon.
Right. See you in Nashville, okay?
Fully Threaded Radio is a production of Fastener's Clearinghouse. Music provided by Audionautics.
The title sponsors of Fully Threaded Radio are Brighton Best International, tested, tried, true, Brighton Best. Goebel Fasteners, quality the first time, go Goebel, and Star Stainless. Right off the shelf, it's Star. Fully Threaded is also sponsored by Buckeye Fasteners, BTM Manufacturing, Eurolink Fastener Supply Service, Fastener Technology International, InSequel Software, J. Lanfranco, MW Components, Solution Industries, Volt Industrial Plastics, and Worth Industry USA.